You feel it the moment you arrive, don't you? The pulse of this city. It just washes over you. Neon lights bleeding onto the water, the sizzle of grills cutting through the night air, and crowds of people flowing through the streets like a river. But underneath all of this incredible energy, you have to wonder, what is the real soul of this place? What makes Osaka's heart beat so differently?
You know, people who visit always say it's a city of contrasts. It's loud, but it's so incredibly warm. It feels chaotic, but the people are just so friendly. It doesn't have that super polished, reserved feeling of Tokyo or the ancient, quiet vibe of Kyoto. Nope, Osaka moves to its own beat, its own flavor. So let's peel back the layers together and figure out what really makes this city tick.
So, where do we even begin? Well, maybe the biggest clue to Osaka's identity is hiding in plain sight, in its most famous nickname. But trust me, what the nation's kitchen actually means, well, it's probably not what you're thinking.
Yeah, when we hear the nation's kitchen today, our minds jump straight to takoyaki and okonomiyaki, right? Restaurants everywhere. But historically, this name had almost nothing to do with cooking food. It was about controlling it. Back in the Edo period, Osaka was the undisputed economic engine of Japan. It was basically a massive logistics hub where all the rice, which was the currency of the time, was gathered in huge storehouses before being shipped out to the rest of the country.
And the city itself was physically built for all this business, becoming a true water metropolis. Those rivers and the massive network of canals weren't just for decoration. They were the highways, the very arteries of the Japanese economy. Absolutely everything and everyone flowed through here.
And all that economic power ended up directly shaping the city's future as a food capital. Just take the Kambu Road, for example. This was this incredibly important trade route that brought high-quality kelp, or kambu, from the cold waters of Hokkaido way up north, all the way down to Osaka. And that single ingredient, man, it would become the foundational secret to the city's incredible flavor. Okay, so to really get Osaka, you have to ask, who was really in charge here? It wasn't the shogun over in Edo, which is modern-day Tokyo. And it wasn't the emperor in Kyoto. No, here in Osaka, the real power brokers, the people who shaped its culture, its entire spirit, were the merchants. You can even see this story embedded in the city's most famous landmark, Osaka Castle. What you see today is actually a beautiful illusion. The main tower is a 20th century reconstruction, built with donations from the city's own people. It's modeled after the original castle built by the great unifier, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. But here's the crazy part. It sits on the massive stone foundations built by his rivals, the Tokugawas, who destroyed his city in the first place. It's an icon funded by citizens sitting on top of a feudal military base.
This whole transformation is literally written into the city's name. For centuries, it was spelled Osaka, using a character connected to its samurai past. But in the Meiji era, as Japan was modernizing, the city officially adopted a new character. It was a conscious decision, a way of saying, we're breaking from that feudal past. We are a city of commerce now.
And this became their defining trait. After the political power shifted away to Edo, Osaka's merchants didn't pack up and follow. No way. They doubled down. They built this incredible culture of self-reliance, a place where it didn't matter what your family name was. What mattered was your skill, your reputation, your hustle. That was the real currency in this town.
So you have this powerful merchant class with this fierce independent streak. And that combination forged the city's most famous philosophy. See, strict laws prevented merchants from showing off their wealth with flashy clothes or big houses. So where did they pour all that money and passion? Into the one thing they could truly control and enjoy: food.
And that brings us to kuidore. Now, it's often translated as eat till you drop, but it's so much deeper than that. It's a whole cultural mindset. It's the idea that spending a fortune on an absolutely incredible meal is a worthy, even noble way to spend your money. It's about prioritizing the joy and experience of amazing food over just owning stuff.
And while kuidore can mean high-end dining, its true spirit is alive and well on the streets. This is the world of konomon, the city's flour-based food culture. We're talking takoyaki, okonomiyaki, kushikatsu. These dishes are delicious, they're affordable, and they're for everyone. It's the perfect expression of a city that believes good food is a right, not a luxury.
But what is it that makes everything here taste so distinctly Osakan, from the simplest street snack to the fanciest meal? The secret isn't a sauce. It's not a spice. It's something much more fundamental. It's dashi. This is where the true genius of Osaka chefs comes in. They totally mastered the science of umami.
They took the glutamic acid from that kelp brought down the kombu road and they combined it with the inosinic acid from dried bonito flakes. When you put those two things together, it's not addition, it's multiplication. The resulting dashi isn't just a simple broth, it's a complex, deeply satisfying flavor bomb that is the absolute soul of Osaka cuisine.
But as crucial as dashi is, the real secret ingredient of Osaka, it isn't something you can eat. It's the people themselves.
Ask anyone in Japan and they'll tell you, people from Osaka are different. In a country often known for being reserved, Osakans are famously direct, hilarious, and incredibly welcoming. And that warmth comes straight from that long history as a city of merchants, where communication and human connection were always the real currency.
And that feeling is universal. In a part of the city nicknamed Nishiodo Stand, because of its large Pakistani community, you find the Osaka Halal restaurant. The owner, who's been in Japan for nearly 4 decades, says it as simply as possible. Of all the places in Japan, he loves Osaka the most.
A single Friday lunch service here tells you the entire story of the city. You've got a regular of 8 years who swears the mutton curry is the best. You'll see a group of friends with a 30-year age gap who just met at a local bar. And then there's a guy who drives an hour and a half from Kyoto just for the buffet. It's a perfect little snapshot of a community built on good food and open arms.
And at that same restaurant, a man from Pakistan and a man from Syria, strangers in a foreign country, found a real connection. They met over a meal, realized they shared a faith, and a friendship was born. That's what Osaka does best. It just creates these spaces where people can come together.
So when you start weaving all of it together, that history of trade, the merchant spirit, the obsession with incredible food, and the genuine warmth of its people, you finally start to see the vibrant, modern city that so many visitors fall in love with today.
If Tokyo is Japan's polished center of finance and government, then you could say Osaka is its creative, sometimes chaotic, beating heart. It's a city of makers, of sellers, of creators, and it has this down-to-earth energy that feels immediately human and just accessible.
And all of this really adds up. It's why so many foreign visitors flock here. The food is mind-blowingly good and it's affordable. The people are genuinely welcoming. The city itself is compact and super easy to explore. And then there's just the vibe. That sheer electric energy of a place like Dotonbori at night, there is simply nowhere else like it on Earth.
At the end of the day, it's a city built on commerce that discovered its most valuable asset is community. A place that turned a simple trade route for seaweed into a world-class culinary philosophy. It's a city that is always changing, always creating, and always hungry for whatever comes next.